Before we begin, let's be clear about this one thing. Here's what this video is not about. This video is not about drawing a bunch of doodles and trying to sell them online for at a ridiculous price. This video is not about flipping NFTs. There are literally thousands of videos that talks about that topic. Here's what this video is about. This video is about utilizing NFTs to add value to your audience and where the direction is headed, especially if you are a course creator, if you are a content creator, if you are an influencer, if you are a seminar leader, if you're somebody who wants to profit through events, then this video here is going to show you exactly the 5 things that you could be doing in order to profit through NFTs. If you're watching this video, then I'm gonna assume that you have a rough idea to what NFTs are. You might think that NFTs is just this random art that is sold on these different marketplaces that's being bought and sold and traded, and where people are trying to just flip them at higher prices. That's not what this video is about. This video is all about how do you have these NFTs and make sure you can utilize the smart contracts as well as the advanced features in order to add value to your audience. So here's what number 1 is all about. Number 1 is utilizing NFTs and bundling them with an existing offer. So this means if you have a course, if you have a training, if you have an event, one of the things that you take a look at what Gary Vee did with VeFriends is he wanted to market VCon, and for anybody who buys his NFTs, any of the NFTs, you would include and get access to 3 years, which is held once a year, to his event. And as a direct result of that, even though it is on the surface level appears to be a bunch of doodles, that's not what the NFTs are. If you think about NFTs is just a digital signature that verifies that this thing is authentic and that the ticket that you're buying is a legitimate ticket and the drawing is just the receipt. Now this potentially, if you think about it, solves a very big problem. Number 1, it solves the problem of scalpers. So if you have bought any ticket to a hot event or a concert, a big problem is people utilizing bots, snapping up 1,000 tickets in a couple of seconds and then relisting it in the secondary market. Now NFTs potentially solve this problem. So this means if you are a content creator, if you are somebody who wants to market a course, an event, by bundling an NFT with that course or event, here's a couple of things that happen. Number 1, you can genuinely prove that there really is a limited amount and that they're scarce. One of the biggest problems for marketers is when a marketer say things like, there's only 17 spots left, or we're only gonna sell 100 tickets. Most of the time, there's a problem believing in these claims. Why? Because there's no way to really prove it. However, if it's linked to the blockchain, you could prove that on the blockchain that there really is this amount of tickets or for that specific offer or product, physical or digital. Now, at the same time, you think about it, for your audience, there's also something in it for them. Now to give you an example, when I first started out in my journey of attending seminars, events and workshops, one of the things that I would collect that I would be very proud of is all of my different name tags that I would have when attending these events. And I would collect them and I would be proud of them when I started attending all these events, because that was like a token and the receipt and the proof, and I would, I still have all of them till today, and I have them all hanged up in my work group. So the NFT is something that your audience could value and appreciate over time. Why? Because that acts as a digital collectible that would enhance the value of your existing offer. So that's number 1. If you have an existing offer, think about, can you link it with an NFT? And again, it's not about the drawing. Take a look at VeFriends, right? Well, my drawing is horrible. It's not going to be any better than that. But my next offer, and if you want to be able to see how that offer looks like, is going to be linked to an NFT. Again, it's not to ride the craze of the NFT bandwagon, but also to make sure that there's actual value in the NFT. Number 2 is to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you're enjoying this video right now, if you want to be able to see more videos just like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel where I'm going to be releasing to you exactly my journey of how I'm going to be utilizing NFTs and crypto and the blockchain to enhance the value of my existing offers. But back to number 2. Number 2 is all about taking your best content or videos or posts or images that has performed well in the past and turning that into an NFT. So if you think about this, there is value in your past work that you could utilize as a way to ingrain into the blockchain that holds its value forever. And what better way to celebrate those moments, those milestones, those posts through an NFT where your audience, your followers could potentially collect. Can you imagine if your favorite content creator, influencer had their own NFT, and a lot of them are doing that right now. But the strategy here is to think about how can I have my genuine, meaningful posts in the past that I've created, whether it's your first viral video, whether it's your first post ever that just got 2 likes, maybe it's your first post ever on Facebook. You might have heard of Twitter's first tweet, right? That was sold for over $1 million, right? Seems insane, it's just a JPEG file. But what makes it powerful is the fact that there's meaning and story and depth in that transaction, in that NFT that makes the audience want to invest. So the thing I'd like you to think about is what different milestones, like for me, I know that a meaningful post to me is the one where I first started off as a participant in an event where I was humiliated and being told to do jumping jacks at the seminar. And I know that one day if I do decide to release an NFT, that moment will be one of them. Which brings us to number 3. Number 3 is about rewarding your holders for having that NFT. So let's use the example of Gary Vee's VeFriends again. So he had this NFT called the Podcast Panther. And the Podcast Panther, the average price was about 10.2 ETH. How do I know that? Because there was an NFT that I wanted to buy, and I was prepared to pay up to 5 ETH for it, and I had no idea that it would shoot up to over 10 ETH. Now, if you think about this, what was the utility of the NFT? Well, it's not the drawing, it is so that you get to redeem 2 podcast sessions with Gary. Now, at the time of shooting this video, the price of ETH is close to about $4,000. So that means that's about $40,000 for a podcast session. Now, I have been at events with Gary where a dinner with Gary in a mastermind setting, that was $10,000, right? And it was for an hour. But why is it that now, even though it's not an in-person meeting, dinner / mastermind, but now it's just a podcast, which is probably worth less, why is it priced at 4 times more? Why? Because it's just linked to an NFT that could be traded, that potentially the speculation is perhaps 3 years, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that NFT, that token, can still be worth more than the utility itself. So think of it as kind of like, can you imagine if there was a moment, a concert, a meeting, or an event that you attended in the past, but now you have like the receipt, a collectible for it? Can you imagine if now you could still trade that thing? So that's where utility comes in. On its own, just think about like if Gary's offer for Podcast Panther did not come with an NFT. First of all, the positioning would be a little bit weird. It would be seen like as a sellout, like 1 or 2 podcasts, right, for $40,000. Most people would not comprehend the ROI of that. But now when it's linked to an NFT, it's different. And of course, you could say there's still ROI in the podcast because you could utilize it in marketing. But same thing with that dinner and mastermind that used to be $10,000. I'm sure Gary charges more than that now, maybe. But NFT, notice what happens. NFT increases the perceived value of your offer. So if you can integrate that with part of your offer that links back to point number 1, that is how you'll be able to tap into a totally new market. And what you're going to realize is that this new market, because they are crypto collectors, there's a good chance that they have already made good returns, especially if they rode the 2 different bull runs that happens over the last few years. That's when you'll be able to tap into a very deep pocket audience. Which brings us to number 4. Number 4 is NFTs with physical products. Now, if you're selling anything that's physical, you might want to think about exploring connecting that physical product with an NFT. And if you think about like what Beeple did when he sold this piece of art, which is really a JPEG, for $69 million, What does it include? What separated Beeple from all these other artists is that his art would come with a physical welcome pack that has the art physically that a person could display. And what if you could do that for anything really? For clothing, for socks. In fact, somebody did that for socks, and that socks, NFT socks, literally sold for hundreds and thousands of dollars. Now, I know it's insane and probably it's not going to be sustainable, but this is where if you are selling something that's physical, you want to start thinking about, can you tap into this new opportunity where you could link this collectible or this thing that's physical with an NFT in order to increase its perceived value. And finally, number 5, it would be this. Number 5 is, you might be thinking, well, I'm not a course creator, I don't create content, I consume content, I'm not an influencer, then how can I ride on this? So I always believe that there are always gaps in the market where the early adopters, people who do something like this, are ultimately the winners before the laggards catch up. So this also means that there are a lot of influencers and content creators, seminar leaders who may not be aware of all these yet until for many years to come. Why? Because as we've always, when there's a change in technology, there's always going to be people that's resistant to change. So what does this mean? It means that you could be the middle person. You could be the person that would pitch this idea as a done-for-you solution to an influencer to get to look up all of their content, their stuff, and maybe turn into an NFT. Guess what? A lot of influencers, they just want to be able to focus on the creative side of things. Many of these people who are content creators, they don't want to deal with all of the tech. They don't want to deal with the setup. They don't want to deal with the listing because there's still a lot of moving parts. So what if you could create this opportunity where you could be the middle person for this person selling physical products, for a person selling courses, for a person who's thinking about selling access but charging more. And you could be the person that enables this specific result and do a profit share. So I always believe that when we are equipped with the knowledge of the eventuality. Now, I believe in NFT so much that, and the way when I say believe in that, here's the caveat. I'm not talking about like NFTs like for just art, because right now that's a huge bubble. I believe that 98% of people is going to lose money on NFTs. I'm talking about utilizing NFTs as a validator for a transaction, where eventually one day, maybe not in our lifetime, we would be able, where an NFT could be proof of somebody owning the deed to a piece of property. And just transferring an NFT means transacting that piece of property. Now, we might not live to see that happen, but I do believe that that's going to happen in a lot of markets, in insurance, in data verification, in data security, in concert tickets, in event tickets, in anything that needs to verify a transaction through a transparent blockchain. So that's my take. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Where do you think this thing is headed? And if any of these steps, which ones are the ones that's the favorite to you? I'm going to be applying at least 3 of them. And as always, if you want to be able to see how it plays out, be sure to subscribe to the channel where I'm going to be revealing to you how I'm going to be incorporating these concepts into my upcoming offers.